Hello. This is the yoga session you've been looking forward to, I'm sure. It's the session with the yoga wheel that's going to focus on your core. So with that in mind, all you need is your wheel today and your mat. Okay, let's come to bring your toes to the back of the mat. We're going to find our puppy pose. So slowly with your hands on top of the wheel, come onto your knees. Start to open out your shoulders, just letting the chest fall. Now I like to hold the top of my wheel rather than bring my hands to prayer. I just find it slightly better angle for me. But by all means you could do this. So by turning the palms towards each other, perhaps you find you get a better stretch this way. Just have a play around with it. So just work into this. Now your knees might be slightly wider perhaps than they would be when we do our puppy pose without the yoga wheel. Have a little play with that, see what works for you. Maybe dropping the head if that feels good, or maybe you want to keep your head up and just work into the lower back. So rolling backwards and forwards, let that belly go, let the shoulders go. Really find length through the arms. Rolling backwards and forwards a little. And then we're going to slide ourselves down onto the belly as if you're coming into your Bhujangasana with your wheel in front of you. So your wheel's just in front of your chest. So lie in Sphinx pose. Let's relax the lower legs, press the forearms in to the mat. So dialing your middle fingers forwards. Inhale, lift your chest and roll just so that you can feel the wheel on your chest there. We're going to work through a little bit of an extended cobra by lengthening the arms a little. So we're going to lift the elbows off the mat, bring the yoga wheel forwards. Now if it's comfortable for you, and I appreciate this will be different for different body types, maybe we can hold on to the wheel and use that wheel to lean against. Now, if this is too strong a back bend for you, if you can feel this pinching in your back bend, one alternative is to have your forearms on the mat, place your forehead on to the yoga wheel, and we can work in Sphinx here. So this is a nice option too. So I'll give you both of those. Let's see which one works for you. I do appreciate that those perhaps might find it a little bit uncomfortable to bring your wheel to your chest here. So whatever variation works, let's stay for a couple more breaths. Roll the wheel away. We'll all come back into Sphinx for a moment. Before we lift the belly, just come into your normal puppy pose. Before drawing your hands back, tucking the toes, and make your way into your downward facing dog. So lifting those hips, extending through the back, just pedaling at the feet. We're just using this really as a transition so that we can step the feet forwards into the middle of the mat. Legs nice and long. We're going to come into a flat back extension using our wheel. So plant your feet nice and firmly, have a look down, make sure they're at least hip width apart. Hands placed on the top of the yoga wheel, so nice and firm. So legs are long, arms are long. Start to roll that wheel away, but keep your hips in line with your heels. So at some point you'll find a stretch, the hamstrings, perhaps a stretch through the sideways to upper back. Just really enjoy this. It's quite a nice way to warm up the arms and the legs before we move on to our core exercises. Another couple of breaths here. Good, and roll the yoga wheel back a little as you just come down onto your knees. So the first core wheel exercise is you're going to have your yoga wheel in the middle of the mat. And as you come into all fours, you're looking for a place that you really want to get it onto the top of your pubic bone. So it doesn't want to be too uncomfortable, don't have it too low, and certainly not onto your belly. So place the hands down once you find that place in front of you. So we're going into a plank position, so you want your wrists underneath your shoulders. Slowly press into your toes and find that plank. So as I say, you do want to find, just roll around, make sure it's comfortable for you. So your plank position should just look like your ordinary plank, but you've got that support of the wheel here. Okay, so looking down, finding length from heel all the way to the crown of your head. Find stability, just bring your toes in towards each other. So we've got a nice centre line there. This is going to help your balance in a moment. Take the right leg out long and point toes. Now keep looking down towards the mat, and if you can, see if you can raise your left arm. Breathe. And lower the left arm. Lower the right leg. Find your centre. Let's move on to the other side when you're ready. So raising the left leg and seeing if we can raise the right arm. Breathe. Lower. Do that one more time on each side. Raise the right leg and the left arm. Lower. Raise the left arm. Sorry, right arm and left leg. And lower. Well done. Lower the knees. Send the hips back. Just placing the hands on top of the wheel, just to release your back for a moment. And keep the wheel at the front of your mat. This time we're going to come into a slightly different plank, using your hands on the plank, on the wheel rather than belly. So hands firmly on the wheel. You're onto your toes. Trust the wheel will take your weight. I like to have my thumbs in the middle of the wheel and my hands around it. I find it's an easier grip this way. And then slowly shift your weight forward. So I'm dropping my hips to shift my weight forwards, and I can feel then that I can trust that wheel as I press into it and slowly lift the knees. You're in a high plank. Now this might be enough for you because this is pretty challenging to stay on a plank here. Again, bring your toes together, send your heels away. Just look down, focus on your breath, focus on the balance. If you want a little bit more, let's try lifting one leg. And lower. Just take your time, lift the other leg. And lower. We'll do that once more each side. One leg. And lower. And the other leg. And lower. Now you can stay here, or we could bring one leg in, knee in towards the elbow, and send it back. Try not to let the hips lift as you do this. Knee to elbow, send it back. Knee to elbow, and back. One more time, knee to elbow, send it back. Lower those knees. Let's find that puppy pose that we started with. So your choice now. Allow the belly to drop. We're really getting into releasing the mid back here. Maybe rolling backwards and forwards a little. If you find that your arms are tired, you can bring your forearms onto the mat, onto the block, onto the wheel, and roll here. This can be quite nice. Or you can even bring your elbows. So different variations depending on what feels good for you. Okay, so the next one, we're going to roll our wheel all the way to the back. And the way I like to get into this, because it is all about balance, this one, is bring your feet both together onto the wheel and then shuffle your knees back as much as you can, because you want to feel like your shins perhaps touch the wheel, and I find that this keeps a good stability, because what you don't want is it to slip off to one side. So keep that stability. Now take your hands in front of you They're going to be a bit further than your shoulders because we'll take the body forwards. So we're going to work into a full plank here. So press it to the hands and push and lengthen the legs. So hold here. It's a bit wobbly sometimes. Find your balance. Now if you can, just stay here. If you want a little bit more, draw the knees in and send them away. Now as you do this, try not to lift those hips again. So you're keeping the upper part of your body really stable, just focusing on that core exercise as you draw the knees in. Let's just do 2 more. Well done. To come out, lower the knees, keep your feet on to the wheel, send your hands forwards, and we'll just come into kind of a variant on puppy with the toe tie. So that's quite a nice release. And then rolling forwards. This time we're going to bring the wheel above your knees. So if you kneel behind the wheel, and then roll forwards, you want to have the wheel not on your kneecaps themselves, but just above the knees. So as we take the body forwards, we're going to feet together, feel where you can start to rest your weight on to the wheel, hands in that plank position once more, and lift your lower legs so that we've got a nice long line. Now point your toes away, tuck your elbows in towards your side waist so that your inner elbows are facing forwards. We're going to practice our chaturanga. So looking down towards the mat, bend the elbows, lower the chest, and then push away. So exhale, start to lower. Allow the legs to lift as you do so. So think about balancing on a ball, and all we're doing is levering forward. So you're allowing control of the upper body as we come down and using the upper body strength to push yourself back up. But we're keeping the spine nice and tall. So it's a great chaturanga practice, that one. When you're finished, slide the legs back, just let the knees come down. And this time you can just roll yourself forwards and back on the wheel. And then the last core exercise we're going to do, save the best till last of course, is we're going to come back with the toes on the wheel. So let's go into that position again where we're scooting the knees back, we're hooking the toes over the wheel. We're seeing if we can really feel a good connection there. It's really important to have this one nice and square onto the mat. Come down onto your forearms, making sure your forearms are parallel and that your elbows are further forward than your shoulders. And then when you're ready, we'll lift the hips, lengthen the legs so that you're in a forearm plank. Push the forearms away, feel a nice long spine, and we can stay here. Or we can lift the hips into our pike. Let the head go as well so that you end up looking down towards your wheel and lower. Don't lower too low. So inhale, lift the hips, allow that hinge action to happen, and lower. Lift the hips, watch they don't lift too high. We're really looking to lift them so that they align over the shoulders if you can to a full pike. Let's just do one more. Lift, lower, hold, lower those knees. Let's now just let that wheel roll away. Sit back on your heels and lengthen the arms into extended child's pose. Take a big breath in here and exhale as we let everything go. So well done for sticking with me through that core practice. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much. Namaste.